I never believed in destiny. Not until the night I sat outside Club Singhania with an empty bowl and emptier hopes. Mumbai's rain had no mercy. Neither did the bouncers who kept kicking me away from the entrance. Move Bikri, they'd spit. Beggar. That's what I'd become. 3 months ago, I was a medical student. Then my father's gambling debt swallowed everything. Our home. My education. My future. The debt collectors took it all. Except me. They said I wasn't worth enough. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt worthless. That's when the black Audi pulled up. Not just any Audi. The kind with bulletproof windows and an aura that made even the rain seem afraid. The bouncers suddenly stood straighter. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. And he stepped out. Veer Singhania. I'd heard the name whispered like a curse. The man who controlled half of Mumbai's underworld. The king who never showed his face in public. But tonight he was here. At his own club. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than my father's total debt. His jaw was sharp enough to cut glass. But it was his eyes that froze me. Dark. Calculating. Dangerous. Those eyes swept over the crowd, bored, dismissive. Until they landed on me. I should have looked away. Every survival instinct screamed at me to lower my gaze. To disappear into the shadows. But I didn't. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was the fact that I had nothing left to lose. I stared right back at him. For 3 seconds, the world stopped. Then he spoke, his voice like velvet wrapped around steel. Bring her to my house. I thought I'd be thrown in the trunk. Instead, they opened the passenger door. Boss said inside. The bodyguard grunted. The car smelled like expensive leather and danger. Veer sat across from me, silent, studying me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve. What's your name? His voice was quieter now. Almost curious. Meera. I kept my chin up. And I'm not a prostitute, if that's what you're thinking. His lips twitched. Almost a smile. I have an entire club full of women who'd kill to sit where you're sitting. Why would I need to pick up a beggar? The word should have stung. It didn't. Because something in his tone wasn't cruel. It was testing me. Then why did you? I shot back. He leaned forward, and suddenly the space between us felt suffocating. Because you looked at me like you wanted to slit my throat. No one's looked at me like that in years. Maybe I do want to. This time he really did smile. Good. I hate boring people. His house was a fortress. 12-foot walls. Armed guards. Cameras everywhere. Inside, it was all marble and murder. Expensive art on the walls. Bloodstains someone had tried to clean from the foyer floor. You'll stay in the guest wing, he said, pouring himself whiskey. You need anything, asked Laxman. Why am I here? I demanded. What do you want from me? He took a slow sip, those dark eyes never leaving mine. I don't know yet. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight. He set down his glass. You're free to leave anytime. The gate's that way. But we both know you have nowhere to go. I hated him for being right. I hated myself more for staying. The first week was psychological warfare. He'd appear at random times. During my breakfast. In the library where I'd escape. Once, in the middle of the night, standing in my doorway like a dark angel. Can't sleep, he'd asked. Hard to sleep when you don't know if you're a guest or a prisoner. You're neither. He'd stepped inside, and every nerve in my body screamed danger. You're an experiment. Excuse me? I want to see how long it takes before you break. Before you beg me to tell you why you're here. Before you become like everyone else who wants something from me. I'd walked right up to him, close enough to smell his cologne. I'll die before I beg you for anything. The look in his eyes had shifted. From amusement to something darker. Hungrier. We'll see. I started noticing things. The way he'd disappear for hours, returning with blood on his cuffs. The midnight meetings in his office where men walked in confident and left terrified. The phone calls he'd take in different languages, his voice cold enough to freeze hell. But then there were the other moments. The way he'd leave books outside my door. Medical textbooks. The expensive ones I could never afford. The night I found him on the balcony at 3 a.m., staring at nothing, looking more lost than dangerous. Do you ever regret it? I'd asked, stepping beside him. This life. He didn't look at me. Every day. Then why? Because I was born into it. My father built this empire on corpses. I just inherited the throne and the blood that comes with it. For the first time, I saw him. Not the Mafia Boss. The man trapped inside the monster. That's a choice, you know. You could walk away. He'd finally turned to me, and the pain in his eyes was so raw it hurt to witness. Could you? If walking away meant everyone you ever cared about would be slaughtered? If leaving meant rival gangs would tear apart everything your father built, killing thousands in the power vacuum? I had no answer. That's what I thought, he'd whispered and walked back inside. It happened during a thunderstorm. I'd been in the library, and he'd walked in drenched, furious about something. His knuckles were split. His shirt was torn. What happened? Someone tried to kill me tonight. He said it so casually, like discussing the weather. Third time this month. Are you hurt? Why do you care? He'd moved closer, and I could smell the rain and danger on him. I don't, I'd lied. Liar. His hand came up, fingers tracing my jaw. Your hands are shaking. They were. I hadn't even noticed. Meera. My name on his lips sounded like a prayer and a curse. You should run. As far from me as possible. I know. Then why are you still here? Because somewhere between his midnight confessions and the way he looked at me like I was the only real thing in his world of lies, I'd done the stupidest thing possible. I'd fallen for him. Instead of answering, I kissed him. It was like setting fire to gasoline. His arms crushed me against him, the kiss desperate, drowning. We were both gasping for air we couldn't find. When we finally broke apart, his forehead rested against mine. This can't happen, he breathed. I know. I'll destroy you. I know. Meera. I kissed him again. Because knowing something and accepting it were two different things. After that night, everything changed. He tried to keep distance. Failed miserably. We'd find excuses to be in the same room. His hand would brush mine at dinner. Our eyes would meet across his office during his meetings. His men noticed. I could see it in their calculating stares. Boss is distracted. I overheard Laxman tell another guard. That makes him vulnerable. They were right. 3 days later, I found out exactly how vulnerable. I woke to the smell of smoke. The mansion was on fire. Not an accident. An attack. I ran into the hallway, choking on smoke, and found Veer fighting 3 men. His white shirt was soaked in blood, but he moved like a demon, ruthless and efficient. Get her out, he roared at Laxman. But more men poured in. Too many. That's when I saw him. Veer's uncle. Rajesh Singhania. Nephew, he smiled like a snake. You've gone soft. All because of this little Bikri. Touch her, and I'll end your bloodline. Rajesh laughed. You're in no position to threaten anyone. My men have surrounded the mansion. You have 2 choices. Come with me, give up your empire, and I'll let her live. Or watch her die. I saw the calculation in Veer's eyes. The terrible choice. And I made the decision for both of us. I grabbed a gun from a fallen guard and shot Rajesh in the shoulder. The chaos that followed was pure violence. Veer used the distraction to turn the tide, and within minutes, his men had subdued the attackers. But Rajesh, bleeding, pointed at me with pure hatred. You just signed her death warrant, Veer. Every enemy you have will now come for her. He was right. Later, in what was left of his office, Veer poured us both drinks with shaking hands. You need to leave, he said, not looking at me. Tonight. I'll give you money, a new identity, protection until you're settled somewhere far from Mumbai. No. Meera, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. I stood, walking to him. Your enemies will use me against you. Keeping me here makes you weak. Loving me could get you killed. Yes. His voice cracked. And you think I should run? Hide. Live some safe, boring life knowing I left you to face this alone. I'm trying to save you. I don't want to be saved. I grabbed his face, forcing him to look at me. I want to fight. With you. For you. For us. You'll die in this world. Then teach me to survive. I held his stare. You said I challenged you, surprised you. That I wasn't weak. So stop treating me like I am. He closed his eyes, and I saw the war inside him, between his heart and his head. Love and logic. When he opened them again, they were different. Harder. Decided. If you stay, there's no going back. You'll learn everything. How to shoot, how to strategize, how to kill if necessary. You'll attend my meetings. Stand beside me. Become part of this empire. Yes. You'll make enemies who'll want you dead. I already have one. Your uncle. A dark smile crossed his face. Not for long. I stood beside Veer in the boardroom, wearing a bulletproof vest under my designer sari. Across from us sat the heads of Mumbai's 5 major gangs, including Rajesh, who glared at me with murder in his eyes. Gentlemen, Veer said calmly, you all know Meera, my partner, my equal. Anyone who touches her answers to me. You've made a mistake, nephew, Rajesh sneered. Bringing a woman into this business is the smartest thing I've ever done. Veer's hand found mine under the table. She has a medical degree. She's reorganized our money laundering operations through hospital charities, making us untouchable. She's negotiated 3 deals you all said were impossible. And he stood, pulling me up with him. She's the reason I'm not dead. 3 assassination attempts this quarter alone. She stopped all of them. So here's what's going to happen. You'll respect her, or you'll lose your seat at this table. The silence was deafening. Then one by one they nodded. Except Rajesh. This isn't over, he hissed. You're right, I said, speaking for the first time. It's not. I slid a folder across the table. That's evidence of your 15-year embezzlement from the Singhania accounts. Also proof you ordered the hit on Veer's father. I've sent copies to every gang leader in this city, the police commissioner you don't own, and 3 journalists who owe me favors. The color drained from his face. You have 12 hours to disappear, Veer said coldly. After that, I stop protecting you from everyone who wants you dead. Rajesh left. We never saw him again. I stood on the same street corner where Veer had found me. But now I wore Armani, not rags. Had bodyguards, not an empty bowl. Owned 3 hospitals, not just dreams of medical school. Having second thoughts? Veer's arms wrapped around me from behind. Never. I turned in his embrace. Though sometimes I miss being invisible. You were never invisible. Not to me. He kissed my forehead. From the moment you looked at me like you wanted me dead, I knew you'd either destroy me or save me. And you did both. His smile was genuine, peaceful. The man I was died. The man I am now, he's better. Because of you. We walked back to the car, his hand in mine. Equal partners in empire and love. I never believed in destiny. Until I met a man who proved that sometimes the most dangerous choice is the right one. And sometimes love doesn't save you from the darkness. It teaches you to rule it.